You are a shoemaker in Manchester, New Hampshire. You're white. You work in a small shop where you are paid according to the number of shoes you make. You own your own tools. Times are hard right now. You had to go into debt for $50 to buy your tools when you went into this line of work right after the Revolutionary War ended. You figured the money would be easy to repay because your state government was issuing paper money, putting more money in circulation and making it easier for ordinary working people to buy things. But it hasn't worked out as you'd expected. In 1786, your state legislature voted to stop issuing paper money. There's less money available now, and each dollar is worth more than it was. You can't charge as much for your shoes because people can't buy at the old high prices. Meanwhile, the man who lent you the money is holding you and threatening to take you to court if you don't pay up immediately. This would be a disaster for you. You could be sent to jail where you'd be unable to work to pay back the money. Who knows when you would be let out? You've heard that some people with problems like yours have marched on the state legislature with clubs and guns demanding lower taxes and the printing of paper money. This makes sense to you. After all, doesn't the Declaration of Independence say that people have a right to rebel when their government becomes a tyranny? That was certainly one of the ideals that you enlisted in the Revolutionary Army to fight for. You didn't do it for the money. In fact, the government didn't pay you any money. Instead, they issued bonds, a kind of IOU, which promised that you would be paid a certain amount at a later date. But after the war, it looked like the government might never have enough money to pay people back. You, along with lots of other people, feared that these bonds would soon be worthless. So you sold your bonds to a banker for what little you could get, about 10 cents on the dollar. You figured that it was better to have some hard cash in hand now than to risk losing everything by waiting for the government to pay up. Now you hear that this banker and other speculators like him want a section in the new Constitution that would force Congress to repay all bondholders immediately in hard currency, that is, gold and silver. A few years back, this might have been fair, but now you'll be forced to pay higher taxes so that a few rich people can get richer. Now that there's talk of writing a new constitution, you're concerned about how the new government will deal with its war debt and rebellions of the debtors. You've also heard that some people at the Constitutional Convention don't even want to allow people like you to be able to vote in elections. No property, no vote, they say. Who do they think they are? When people are dying in the war, when people were dying in the war, it was the farmers and workers who did most of the bleeding, not the rich plantation owners, bankers, and merchants.